Now please start, just tell us your name and address.
Okay, my name is, I'll give you my whole name, including my
Thank
name.
you.
Mata Colores-Hansen. And I live at 5700 Sheridan Road.
And that's right there at the end of Lakeshore Drive.
Exactly.
A very
It is
famous place.
It's a retirement building.
Good.
I have a one-bedroom with a beautiful view of the lake.
Are you lucky? I wouldn't mind that myself. Now, when did you attend lovely Senn High School? What years?
I was during the 4 years of World War II. We were the first class to start immediately after Pearl Harbor. I was midterm, and so Pearl Harbor was December 41. I started January 42, and I graduated January 42. But World War, I think VJ Day was August of 45. So we were the first class to graduate after VJ Day.
Imagine that. Can you tell us, please, any recollections of your experiences at Senn during the war?
Well, actually, mostly I was very active in, I was a double art major, and I was very active in workers. At that time, the program was workers and players. The players were the actors under the English department, and the workers were the backstage crew under the art department. Now, this class was for credit. However, you had to be invited to attend, and I was a worker. And we put on some very interesting plays, not only at the high school, but in some other theaters around the city, some very small ones in the Fine Arts Building and so on. It was very, very interesting.
And were they related to the war going on? Was that part
no,
of the
just
topic?
plays, but then we did go to different
At
plays.
other locations, you said?
Well, no, we were like the Fine Arts Building, there were some small theaters and so on.
Do you remember any favorite teachers that you had at Senn?
Yes, Miss Donat, the art teacher.
Yes, and
And when my daughter started school, she started at Senn also, I asked about workers, and they said, what do you know about workers? And I said, I was a worker. And they said, oh, you didn't study under Miss Donat? I said, yes, I did. They said, oh, she made a name for herself all over the Midwest. I didn't know that. But I had lost track, and I had, because I was not living in Chicago at the time, actually, during the Second World War, I'd see the girls in the service, and I thought, now this sounds very exciting. It's something I would really like to do. However, the war ended before I graduated, and when I decided not to start college until the fall of 46, when all the veterans were back, and so I thought, well, I missed it. But in 1950, I was working downtown at an office, and I was on my lunch hour flipping through a magazine, and it said, job idea, women in the service. I thought, oh my God, they're taking them back again. And so that's it. I enlisted in the Navy.
yes, and speaking of that, do you have any friends from Senn that you've been keeping in touch with?
Well, there was one, I had two very close friends, but one I was closer to, and I had seen up to the time when, maybe, let's see, my daughter must have been 10 years old, so
Yeah.
I don't know when. But then I lost track of her too. So there were two, Corinne Cohen and Poppy Chardonis.
Now, can you think of any impact or effect that Senn has had on your entire life after the war and after graduation, such as going to college and then activities after college?
Well, I can't really think because I didn't, I wish it had,
Yes.
but unfortunately I don't think it is. I'm trying to look at the camera and look at you at the same time. Yes. I can't, not really, because I never did go back. I said the only time I went back was a few years ago from my grammar school. I had,
Thank you.
their Centennial.
Now, is there anything else you'd like to add? Any recollections of activities and clubs that you attended, any events that went on, dances and sporting events?
Unfortunately, I was very shy in those
Oh.
years, and I didn't even date. I was very awkward. I was the oldest of 3 daughters, and no brothers, not even male cousins except one who was 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So I was very, very awkward and very shy, and I don't know how come I was invited to be a worker, except that I had quite a talent for art, I suppose. So
I'm glad you're not shy now.
no,
That's
no.
wonderful.
Actually, what happened was when I started college, all the veterans were back, and they were not intimidated by a shy young girl. They were willing to talk, and so they just included me in all their gap fests, and I'd go home and I'd read the paper, including the sports page, and I would follow up whatever they knew everything about everything. Some of them were only a few years older than me, but they were so worldly, and so I would check their references, and pretty soon I got to the point where I could ask a question and even make an intelligent comment. So they brought me out of it very, very quickly. And in fact, a young one man called me. I'd seen him around. His name was Jim. He was very handsome. He was tall and blonde, and he called and he said, "Happy Easter." I said, "How did you know it's my Easter?" I'm Greek Orthodox. And he said, "It's my Easter too." I said, "You're not Greek." He says, "No, I'm Ukrainian, but it's my Easter too." I said, "Oh." So I went with him. It must have been the summer prom, because I remember I was part of the Queen's Court even.
Very good. And we wish we had pictures of that right now.
I did have one, and I don't know whatever happened to it.
Things get lost.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. You're wonderful to talk to.
Well, I
Thank you.
could talk all day. My shyness is long gone.
Thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
See, nice.